Chapter 1201. It was not until 300 years into the Fourth Era that the old Axe King received a reply from Noto and met his old friend Gandalf again, as well as more than 10 top craftsmen from Noto's era. It took 200 years for the elves and dwarves to transform the supreme devil pants into the crown of the Eternal Night King using many strange materials. Yes, Mount Doom was drained dry by Sorin's magic eye and even completely destroyed the ley lines. This alarmed the Earth God's arcane power and allowed Manwë to discover his scheme. In short, without Mount Doom, the supreme devil pants could not be destroyed by mortals. Fortunately, the Devil King Sorin was cast into eternal darkness by Vila and could no longer enter the human world. As such, the supreme devil pants became an ownerless magic weapon with only a huge amount of magic power and fatal temptation. Previously, the pants were sealed in the deepest part of the royal tomb by Aragorn. Before he died, he took it out and entrusted it to King Tirion. If there were no accidents, the dwarves would find a crack in the ground and seal the magic weapon forever. However, with the magic shadow's arrival, the world was about to fall into an unpredictable dark abyss. Aragorn and Tirion could only turn their eyes to it for help. Yes, the plan was decided by Aragorn and Tirion together. However, this was the last choice. Unless it was absolutely necessary, it was best to throw the pants into the magma of the Earth's crust and seal it forever. Under Gandalf's worried gaze, the Axe King Tirion put on the crown of the Eternal Night King, which looked like a helmet. Frost spread down from the top of his head and formed a set of blue-black ice armor on his body. At the same time, a vast amount of black smoke formed a long, dark cloak behind him. Tyrion's face, which had been polished by time and was as hard as black iron, showed signs of struggle and pain. He let out an inhuman roar from his mouth. In the roar, one could vaguely hear the cheerful laughter and vicious curses of Mirko, King Sorin, and many other demon kings. Gandalf immediately chanted a meditation spell, and the hall lit up. After 20 years, Tyrion's face relaxed again. He opened his eyes, and there seemed to be a galaxy in them. "Well?" asked Gandalf nervously. "As expected of the top craftsman of Alino. The crown is just as we expected. It can form a magic eye canopy that covers the entire earth," Tirion said with a smile. Gandalf did not relax. "Can you bear it? The moment I activated the crown, there seemed to be thousands of people talking in my ears at the same time. Every sentence, every demonic thought made me restless. I wanted to obey, but I didn't lose my mind. Slowly, I cleared all the devil thoughts and suppressed them in the bottom of my heart. Now, as you can see, my reason has suppressed the devil thoughts. You can suppress it now, but what about in the future? We'll talk about the future. In the future, this is our responsibility. My old friends are dying one by one. If I don't step up, who will?" Old Axe King sighed with a bleak expression. "I will stop practicing the sorcery arts and focus on keeping the dark energy out of the world." After pausing for a moment, he said in a low voice, "You are Maya. You are immortal and powerful. You can be my supervisor. If something happens to me in the future, then, sigh, I can't predict the future. You can decide for yourself when the time comes. No matter what, you must stop me from falling into the dark abyss." Gandalf nodded with a heavy heart. In the year 550 of the Fourth Era, the dwarven kingdom of Moria was completely closed to the outside world. King Tirion left his home and entered the ice world in the northernmost part of the continent, sealing himself in ice on a black stone throne forever. It was also in this year that the sorcery arts realized that the dark energy from the void seemed to have thinned out. At first, they thought it was an illusion or a new change brought about by the new era. Just like in this era, the elves gradually disappeared from Middle-earth. 200 years later, the dark energy thinned to a limit. There was even the first case of the sorcery arts declining instead of improving. Why is this happening? It's only been 600 years since the Fourth Era. The golden age of the sorcery arts hasn't even begun, but the magic power has declined to the point where it's hard to cultivate. The sorcery arts community was in an uproar, but they were powerless. The speed of sorcery arts cultivation became slower and slower. For a long time, no Grandmaster with ultimate power appeared. In the year 800 of the Fourth Era, another shocking event occurred. A sorcery arts master with ultimate power used up his lifespan and died at the age of 666. Not to mention, compared to mortals, with Numenorean's long lifespan, 666 was already an exaggeration. But the remaining sorcery arts were terrified and angry, because after grasping ultimate power, they should have enjoyed eternal lifespan. I can't accept this. I cultivated bitterly for 400 years and finally grasped the power of the gods. I should have enjoyed eternal wealth and glory. Why is my lifespan only a few hundred years? An old sorcery arts master shouted in grief and anger. In the next 300 years, sorcery arts master after sorcery arts master used up their lifespan and died, until a sorcery arts master appeared in the Far East who was diligent and loved his people. He was pleasantly surprised to find that whenever his subjects worshipped and offered sacrifices to him, a mysterious power would descend upon him. This power was no weaker than darkness origin power and could aid sorcery arts cultivation. More importantly, it could make him immortal. This is the power of faith. Damn it, why didn't I think of this before? Soon, a black Numenorean sorcery art master researched the information of the previous devil Lord Soren and Mirko and discovered the true nature of this mysterious power. The black Numenoreans were not the dark-skinned, Dendane Numenoreans. Instead, they were a large group of fallen Numenoreans who had been lured in by Soren when he was the Prime Minister of Numenorian. They were spread across the colonies of Middle-earth and were similar to the Volantis of the Song of Ice and Fire. They had luckily escaped the Great Calamity and had been reproducing until today. These people were the main force of the cultivation world. They had founded many hidden cultivation sects with families as their unit. With the Dendane Numenorians' extraordinary talents, they had given birth to many grand masters with ultimate power. The Dendane Numenorians had experienced the blood sacrifice of Mirko and had seen Soren extract the evil power of faith from humans to form his body. They were not ignorant of the power of faith. In the year 1200 of the Fourth Era, in the northwest of Middle-earth, a Grand Master named Odin Asa called himself the God King. The people under his rule could only worship him and were not allowed to have other faiths. The prelude to the Age of Gods began. Zeus, Gaia, Surat Amaterasu. A bunch of fake gods appeared one after another. How did the world become like this? Soren was a little confused. Danny came to outer space to visit again. Sigh, let's not talk about you. I met Womu a few years ago. He also felt despair about the current state of Middle-earth. This is the world I want. Everyone is like a demon. There is no etiquette, and only the strong are respected. Mirko was very excited. Stranger, are you the mastermind behind all of this? Soren asked. No, I've been very low-key for the past 1,000 years. I don't even dare to walk around. I'm afraid that I'll be seen as the successor of the Devil King, Danny quickly said. Bosmi was dissatisfied. Soren and I have been exiled forever. If you don't take up the responsibility now, when are you going to do it? It's because both of you didn't have a good ending that I don't want to repeat the same mistake, Danny said confidently. This is your fate. You can't escape it, Mirko sneered. He was wrong. Danny herself was frightened for a long time, but she lived through the next 3 eras peacefully. The Fourth Era lasted for 5,000 years. In the first half of this era, the fake gods were still able to flourish. However, in the second half, the source of faith was occupied by the big god clans. Their potential was exhausted, and they were inevitably swept away. Well, the so-called god clans were actually sorcery cultivation sects and families. At the end of the Fourth Era, the War of Faith led to the terrifying twilight of the gods. Almost all the masters of the ultimate power died in battle, and the era of the fake gods ended. In fact, those who could master the power of law were not fools. Many fake gods had even predicted the twilight of the gods at the end of the era more than 1,000 years in advance. They also knew the way to break the Darknet seal on the dark power outside of Earth. Odin, Gaia, Zeus, and other main gods had all looked for Dark Master, Tyrion. Dany was also shocked when she heard what the fake gods called Tyrion. However, they had never called him by the wrong nickname. The Axe King from back then was now fully qualified to be called Dark Master, because he was wearing the Eternal Night King title. Not only did he stop the dark power that tried to enter Earth, he also absorbed the dark power that was produced on Earth. As long as there was evil, the dark power could be produced. At most, Mirko's evil was purer, and its quality and quantity were higher. Humans were fewer in number, but their nature was not necessarily inferior. According to Villa, the reason why Earth could not get rid of evil was because of the seed of evil that Mirko had left behind. I want you to die. In the age of chaos, the world will only be purified after all of you are dead. Faced with the fake god's request to open the dark net, Tyrion said viciously, "You are the Dark Master. You have absorbed the most dark power and mastered the most ultimate power. You have no right to say such things." Odin was furious. "I turned into a demon to wipe out all the demons in the world." Tyrion's white hair fluttered in the wind as he raised his head and laughed. "Don't think that I can't recognize you just because you put on the Demon Supreme pants. Take off your pants and the Darknet seal will break on its own," Gaia threatened. She was a black Númenórean who had followed Soren before, so she knew the secret of the pants. "It's not the pants, it's the crown," Tyrion said angrily, putting the pants on his head. How vulgar and disgusting was that? It doesn't matter if you call it a towel to wipe your mouth. In any case, we want the pants. With that, the group of fake gods charged forward. Unfortunately, they only mastered one ultimate power, while Tyrion, who was wearing the pants, had comprehended 12 laws. The most important thing was still internal energy. Because the dark net separated Earth from the universe, the fake gods were unable to absorb the purest dark origin power, the power of the demon god, which corresponded to the ultimate power. On the other hand, Tyrion, who relied on the dark net, could absorb dark origin power 1,000,000 times more efficiently. There was a huge difference in quality and quantity between the two sides. It was also because of this battle that Tyrion obtained the title of Dark Master. Since the attack failed, the fake gods were left with only one option: defeat the other fake gods and take over the source of faith in Midland. Use the power of faith of all humans to fight against the Dark Master wearing the pants. In theory, this was also a feasible option. As long as it was a war, there would always be a final victor. The final victor of the War of Faith would become the only god of all humans in Midland. Yahweh was a combination of 3 fake gods who mastered 3 ultimate powers and won the final victory. "Ha ha, I'm the only god, Dark Master. Just you wait. Wait for me." He was standing among the pile of fake gods' corpses, his face covered in blood, and laughing loudly. The Dark Master suddenly appeared and chopped him in half with an axe. Axe looked at the last god, who had died with his eyes wide open, and sneered. "Do you think I'm stupid? Do you think I'll give you time to master the power of faith in the entire continent? While you were fighting, I was waiting at the side, waiting for the chance to kill all of you. This is the true Ragnarok." The last god took his last breath unwillingly. The 4th era ended, and Tyrion became the ultimate demon king. Chapter 1202. The 5th era was the Common Era. This was an era where magic was at its weakest. The elves had become a legend. The dwarves seemed to have dug through the earth to enter another plane, and the hobbits and the few remaining orcs had merged with the humans. They first became a human race, and when their racial characteristics gradually disappeared, they were finally reduced to ordinary citizens of a country. In 1975, humans began to attempt to land on the moon. Rockets rose to the sky, and technology conquered the world. However, Vera intervened and interfered with them. A huge explosion at NASA stopped the first moon landing operation. At the same time, archaeologists at Oxford University began to research the secrets of Atlantis. The history of the Númenóreans was gradually revealed, and Williner and Villa were about to be exposed to the eyes of ordinary historians. Manwë took action, sending the great eagle Zorando disguised as a natural storm to attack Oxford University. Although the original manuscripts were lost, the professors at Oxford University managed to find records of ancient history elsewhere. Some secrets were known to ordinary people, but only the upper echelons of the human race knew. Ordinary people still believed that they had evolved from a monkey. In 3300 AD, humans finally began to colonize the stars, and Earth was no longer their only home. Gandalf, you have neglected your duties. The world has developed so quickly that people have left Earth. What's the use of my black net? Tyrion the Dark Lord complained to his old friend. Sigh, we have tried our best to stop it. Many spaceship malfunctions and many adjustments to the country's aviation budget were all because of me. However, the fate of humans is decided by themselves, and Wylenor's villa can't interfere. We have already reached our limit, Gandalf said helplessly. What will we do now? Tyrion asked. Perhaps you can leave Earth and cover the entire solar system with a black net, Gandalf said hesitantly. Tyrion looked at him deeply and said, to do that, I have to continue to increase my cultivation and absorb darkness origin power. Perhaps I won't be able to last until the next era. Humans are constantly creating darkness energy, and the evil of the two world wars is even greater than the evil of the previous demon kings combined. In order to stop the darkness from rising again, I have absorbed too much darkness energy from humans. You're also a human. You decide what to do. Given the current situation, even Valino can't do anything about it, Gandalf said bitterly. The Fifth Era ended in the year 3957. The new humans that grew up in outer space started an interstellar war with the humans on Earth to seize control of the solar system. The death toll exceeded 30 billion. The darkness origin power in the universe became denser and denser. Amazing. Humans nowadays are amazing. The number of people I've killed in my entire life is less than the number of people they've killed in a single battle. My vicious schemes and evil schemes were magnified 10 times, 100 times. Compared to them, we are nothing. Mirko was shocked and disappointed. Maybe the universe doesn't need the Dark Demon King anymore, because every human has the seed to become a Demon King, Soren said dejectedly. After 2 epochs, Dany felt a lot more relaxed. It was as if the calamity that was supposed to befall her had passed before it happened. She wasn't stupid. She guessed that this result might have something to do with Tyrion. However, she still did not look for him. Instead, she hid on the side as a passerby and quietly observed the development of the situation. 20,000 years after humans entered the interstellar era, the solar system accumulated too much darkness origin power. Tyrion, who had been trying his best to maintain the balance of the solar system origin power, finally couldn't hold on anymore and became a demon. However, his old friend Gandalf kept his promise. The moment before he became a demon, Gandalf helped him completely free himself. He ended up like Mirko and Soren, becoming a part of the universe's darkness dimension. So, I'm the Dark Demon King. I always thought that I was the savior. Tyrion said bitterly. I feel like you've changed into a different person. When Tyrion's destiny completely ended, Dany went to visit him in the universe prison. According to her impression of Tyrion, he should have quickly become a demon when he first came into contact with the dark arts in the Third Era. He would have probably enjoyed it. The current Tyrion was too righteous and too nice. It wasn't that Tyrion's actions in this life didn't match his personality. It was more like the evil and flaws in his human nature had been shaved away, leaving him with only righteousness. It was similar to how he dealt with Manwë and Mirko. I also feel that you're not like yourself. You treat life as a toy and have no humanity. This angel, Tyrion actually started to blame Dany. The two of them didn't get along. After a short conversation, Dany left with a wooden face. It wasn't until 30,000 years later, in the year 60323, that humans truly walked out of the solar system and started to colonize other star systems. Humans ushered in an unprecedented development. Not only did they advance in technology, but they also used scientific methods to revive the dark arts cultivation era of personal evolution. After tens of thousands of years, Humans who had climbed to the peak of technology and reached a bottleneck started the search for the old Paradise Project. The peak of technology met the gods. They wanted to find Velinor and enter the utopia where Villa lived. We humans want to truly rule the world and not be like lab rats, helping them to verify their ideas under the whispers of the higher civilizations. Villa and Aluvita, listen up, we want to control our own destiny. We want true freedom, the great freedom that can transcend this universe. Arda isn't our limit, nor is the Milky Way. The universe that you call Yaya still isn't our limit. We know that there's a wider world beyond the universe. Now, we want to fight for the right to be free. The leader of the Human Alliance spoke with the loudest voice in the universe. He was a peerless powerhouse who had mastered 300 ultimate powers. He had once traveled to the edge of the universe alone. He understood the ultimate secret of the universe. The universe was like a brain. Every star system and galaxy was a cell in a brain. The expanding universe was like the expansion of thought. The limit of thought was the boundary of the universe. The power that allowed the limit of thought to expand was the dark force that filled the universe and caused the boundary to expand outwards. In other words, the dark energy evolved from the dark demon god and the human's evil energy, and the positive energy evolved from Villa and the human's light energy, were the source of the universe's expansion. The expansion of the universe was the same as the growth of the consciousness. The starship under the leader of the Human Alliance could easily destroy the solar system and even severely damage the Milky Way. His soldiers could fill the sky. Similarly, he was also the Dark Demon Lord in Villa and Aluvita's plan. Now, the Dark Demon Lord led hundreds and thousands of Starry Sky Emperors who had mastered ultimate powers and hundreds of thousands of high-grade space battleships back to the place where they were born and grew up. They surrounded the Earth that was once called Arda. As long as Villa dared to say no, thousands of cannons would be fired and turn the god's kingdom into dust along with Earth. They had already found countless planets similar to Earth in the universe. Moreover, they already understood the past history and knew that Earth was more like Villa's cage. It did not allow them to breathe the free air outside the dark force. The humans were nervous and expectant. They did not know what Villa was capable of and were nervous. They were looking forward to the heroic scene of the starship bombarding Villa, but they were also looking forward to it. Just as the leader's countdown reached 0, the Eye of Angorian seemed to have jumped through time and space and suddenly appeared above the solar system. The brilliant blood light ignored the starship's neutron armor and landed on the faces of the human interstellar troopers, who were full of excitement. Their expressions froze, and they slowly raised their heads, confused and fearful. Where did the Eye of Angorian come from? It seems to have jumped through time and space. No wonder we did not find any traces of it in the Great Hope Star for tens of thousands of years. They are Villa's weapons, a spaceship that can jump through space. That was not wrong. The Great Hope Star, Arendelle, was indeed a spaceship. Arendelle wore the Silmarillion on her head and piloted the wooden shell spaceship that found Velino, was canonized by Manwë, and was blessed by Villa. Not only was the lucky star a spaceship, the sun and moon before humans entered space were all spaceships piloted by Maya. Later, when humans began to enter the era of interstellar colonization, Valda created 2 ordinary stars to replace the sun and moon. The sun and moon spaceships from before still existed. They only flew around the outer ring of the Amen continent. However, the Eye of Angorian was not a spaceship. It was a ball of dark fate that represented curses, tragedy, and blood. You will only be able to see and feel your destiny when it comes to you. At other times, it was unpredictable and unpredictable. Planet Destroyer, Level 1 Energy Cannon, 3 rounds of fire. The commander pointed at the blood-red star above his head. His face was twisted as he roared at the top of his lungs. He was afraid. Even in the interstellar era, the legend of the Eye of Angorian did not disappear. On the contrary, news of the appearance of the Blood Star came from various galaxies from time to time. That's right, it was not limited to the solar system where Earth was located. Every time it appeared, there would be a great tragedy in the galaxy where it was located. Without exception, therefore, may the eye of Angorian never meet you again had always been the most common verbal blessing between the crew and the captain when the spaceship left the spaceport. With the commander's order, thousands of colorful energy beams streaked across the eye of Angorian. It was like a spear piercing through smoke. Without waiting for the interstellar fleet to adjust their attack mode, an inconspicuous black suddenly appeared in the sky above Earth. The next moment, all the light rays distorted toward the black dot. All the spaceships, no matter what material they were made of, were instantly crushed. It was like a giant crushing a scallion pancake. It's a black hole. The leader of the Federation, who had mastered 300 laws, lasted the longest. He had the chance to panic and spit out half a sentence. The others, along with the spaceship, were instantly crushed into atoms by the strong gravitational difference. Even the atoms were crushed. The era of the unified Federation, which had developed to the peak of technology, ended. Since then, humans had never been able to find Earth in the Milky Way. No one knew how many tens of thousands or hundreds of millions of years had passed. At the edge of the Milky Way, in a double-star solar system, on a giant planet called Tatooine, on a street full of yellow sand, a 7-year-old blonde boy raised his head and asked curiously, "What is a bard?" An ancient profession that specializes in telling stories to the audience with songs and poems. The hooded woman smiled. "If you want to listen to stories, I have a holographic projection wristwatch. It's more immersive." The boy raised his right hand with little interest. "Sigh, the electronic player can't give a story a soul." The hooded man shook his head. The boy scratched the top of his head, his cute little face scrunching up. "Listening to stories is boring. I like racing cars." "Oh, you're a racer at such a young age." The woman couldn't help but pinch the boy's face. It was chubby and very bouncy. "I like the feeling of flying at high speeds." The boy took a step back, avoiding her cold fingers. "So, you want to be a racer in the future?" "I don't know." The boy was conflicted. "My mother and I are slaves. I want to be free. I want my mother to live a good life. I want to win a racing car competition. I also want to be a Jedi Knight. There's so many things I want to do, but I'm just a slave now. All the money I earn belongs to my master." "You inherited the ancient human emperor's bloodline. You're a good seedling to cultivate the Force. However, you're not suitable to be a Jedi Knight," the hooded man said. "Are you sure I can cultivate the Force? If I can cultivate the Force, why can't I be a Jedi Knight? Also, what's a human emperor?" The boy was surprised and confused. The hooded man flipped his right hand, and an exquisite silver brooch appeared in his palm. "This is your ancestor Aragon's singing fee. I'm giving it to you now. In the future," after a pause, he said, "you have the strength to become a hero, but you don't have the determination to match it." "What is determination?" The boy held the silver brooch, his little face full of confusion. "Why don't I let this second elf singer sing a few songs about ancient heroes for you to let you feel true courage and fearlessness?" The hooded man pointed at the handsome man with white hair and pointed ears. "Is he an elf?" "I've never seen this race before," the boy said curiously. "The strongest Jedi Knight in the Milky Way, Master Yoda. Do you know him? He is a mixed descendant of a hobbit and a dark elf. Perhaps he has some half-orc blood as well." "It's been a long time." The hooded man thought for a while. "About 3 billion years ago, a new race was formed. Do I need money to listen to the songs?" "I don't have money," the boy said hesitantly. "It's okay. When I write your song of Anakin in the future, I won't pay any copyright fees," she said with a smile. Chapter 1203. "My lady, have you found out? What is the background of the new Demon King?" Lalo asked in a fawning manner. Cersei glanced at him and said calmly, "Instead of worrying about others, why don't you focus on improving yourself?" "My lady, I can't not pay attention. To tell you the truth, my position as the great Demon King has been shaken." "Do you know what this means?" Lalo asked anxiously. Thousands of years had passed, and Cersei was no longer a novice. Her expression changed slightly when she heard this. Are you saying that Mirko might replace you? The great demon king of hell quickly asked. His name is Mirko? What's his background? That guy is arrogant and cold. My seduction spells did not work at all. I could not get any secrets out of him. Cersei sighed. You seduced him? Lalo was furious. She was his wife. What else? If I asked him directly, would he tell me his secrets without paying any price? Cersei said angrily. Lalo was frustrated, but he could not refute. Is he not a man? Even you could not seduce him? He said awkwardly. He was not happy that his wife could not seduce Mirko. That guy only wants to recruit soldiers and buy horses. He wants to gain territory in the 7th layer of hell and develop his own power. He doesn't care about love at all. When he sees me flirting and flirting, the first thing he thinks of is not lust. Instead, he scratches his chin and ponders. What can I do under him? Cersei said angrily. Focus on his career. That's a huge problem, Lalo shouted. After that, Lalo was relieved. Mirko did not put him in his place and had offended Cersei. He did not have to worry about the adulterous couple plotting against him. Cersei looked at him deeply and said, If I'm not wrong, the 7 gods are very dissatisfied with your slacking off. Mirko, Serene, and the other evil gods were sent to hell by the 7 gods to provoke you. The silver carp effect, do you understand? Of course I understand, but I did not slack off. Haven't you seen my efforts all these years? Lalo said, feeling wronged. What's the use of just working hard? It depends on the results. You still haven't sung a complete song of laws. In this new world that is developing faster and faster, what makes you think you can be the great demon king? It's only been 8,000 years, but my Song of Shadows has already reached 25. 1,478,319% progress. The Song of Poison Fire has also begun. In the entire infernal realm, aside from you, who else can cultivate faster than me? Lalo said arrogantly. I'm afraid the Black Goddess won't think so. Cersei sighed softly. You know how fast our world has developed in the past few thousand years. There are even 5 true gods among the humans who can sing the complete Song of Laws. Including the non-humans, there were more than 10 true gods in the astral plane. But what about the hell that corresponded to the astral plane? There wasn't even a single true god. If I were the Black Madonna, I would also feel dissatisfied. Actually, you and I should be glad that there isn't a single true god in Infernal Realm. Otherwise, you would definitely lose your position as the great demon king. Lalo pulled his hair with a pained expression. This doesn't make sense. Our world is still at the bottom level of the universe. In theory, there shouldn't be any true gods. In theory? In theory, our world should have been destroyed by the White Frost, but how prosperous is the world now? You've lived for tens of millions of years. Tell me, compared to the upper level of the universe tens of millions of years ago, has the world become stronger or weaker? Cersei said impatiently. Lalo was stunned. He suddenly stepped forward, grabbed her hand, and begged, We can't just sit here and wait for death. I don't have the confidence to fight Mirko head-on. You know how black-hearted the Black Goddess is. Visitors from another world who can be accepted by the world of the 7 gods are all gifted and beneficial to the world. The 5 human true gods in the astral plane, other than the bald donkey Chizong, the other 4 are all immigrants. Even if Jon Targaryen and Jaime Lannister were extremely gifted, they wouldn't be able to perfect the Song of Laws in 10,000 years. But those guys are all children of destiny. They have the support of the world's will. The true gods of other species are even more terrifying. There isn't a single native beast god. They all come from another world. I'm afraid that Mirko and Soren are similar to Thunder God Dennis. According to the dwarf's plan before he left, Saladin and the Silver Targaryen woman gave birth to a son who is half of the bloodline of another world. They have powerful gifts and extraordinary bloodlines. What plan do you have to deal with this? Cersei was worried. For the past few thousand years, her original body had been tortured in a mountain of knives and sea of fire. The pain didn't lessen at all. However, her spiritual projection was the boss in Infernal Realm, ordering people around and showing off. If Mirko replaced Lalo as the new great demon king, would the demons in Infernal Realm still respect her? Demon Queen Circe? If Mirko was lustful, then so be it. After a few thousand years, she was already sick of Lalo. She wouldn't mind having the Black Goddess as a witness to dissolve the holy marriage and go to King Mirko. But that guy couldn't get hard. How are we better than the immigrants? Lalo asked softly. Circe frowned. She bit her red lips, and her pink tail swayed behind her. After a long while, she said helplessly, "It seems that the immigrants are better than us in every aspect. Back then, Targaryen ruled the world. Now 1/3 of the kingdoms have changed owners. Even Targaryen can't withstand the attacks of the immigrants. We are even weaker. But we have connections. You're alone. What connections do you have?" Circe rolled her eyes at him. "Your family's also my family. You can ask my brother-in-law for help," Lalo said matter-of-factly. Circe looked incredulous. "You want me to ask Jaime and ask Jaime to help you? If it was in the early years, he would definitely cut you in half. But now," she sighed, "I don't know what kind of charm that ugly woman Brittany has. They are still together. No matter what, he won't help you. I'm his brother-in-law after all." And Tyrion, seeing the displeasure on her face, Lalo stomped his foot and said, "We're in a pinch, and you're still thinking about the bad things in the early years." "I've almost forgotten what Tyrion looks like," Circe said with a bitter smile. In front of the gate of the first layer of hell, the human torches of the betrayers were lined up on both sides. There were hundreds and thousands of them. There was no end in sight. They were all undead who had violated the traditional ethics of sacred vows, holy marriages, and the rights of guests. After death, they went to hell and were made into human torches. Every undead who received the Father's judgment would walk through a long passage of human torches. They would also be so frightened that their legs would tremble and they would lose control of themselves. At this moment, under the orange light of the torches, a silver-haired old man who was bound by chains was tugging at the sleeves of a girl in a black dress and pleading, "I'm doing this for Targaryen. Great-grandmother, I even attended your 3,000th birthday banquet. You must help me," the old man begged. "I'm just a ghost servant who suppresses evil spirits. I'm not a judge. I have no say in front of the Father. I can't help you." The pale girl with a huge bloody scythe on her back said awkwardly. After the old man was pulled into the gate of the tribunal, Circe approached the girl and said with a fawning expression, "Lyanna, is your mother Arya here? There's a demigod necromancer in the far east who uses the souls of living people to refine a ghost flag." "My mother just rushed over," the girl said calmly. Circe nodded and asked, "That old man just now seemed to be Terp Targaryen of the Revival Society? He offered you a blood sacrifice?" The girl's eyes were cold. Circe did not comment. She chuckled and said, "I think his idea is good. Resist immigration and make Targaryen great again. It's not just Targaryen. Many of the old families in the great world of 7 gods have deep feelings about this. Tell that to the Holy Mother." The girl's expression was still cold. "I'm also here for immigration. However, it's not immigration from the world of the living. It's the new group of demon kings from another world in the 7 levels of hell," Circe said seriously. "My mother and I are both grim reapers with scythes. We don't care about such things." Circe thought for a moment and said, "Can you go to the Northern Ice Kingdom and call your father over? My father is in seclusion. He won't come out until he breaks through to true God. No one will see him for the next 2,000 years. Even he feels the pressure." Circe was surprised. Tyrion is back. Not only did he break through to true God, he also comprehended the Song of the 5 Laws, Lyanna said with a complicated expression. "What?" Circe was so shocked that her mouth was crooked. "That guy's talent is mediocre. Even his ascension to demigod relied on connections. How can he recite the Song of the 5 Laws in such a short time?" Granduncle went to the upper universe. It's easier to comprehend the laws there. It seems that Mirko and the other demon kings from another world were also brought back by him, the girl said. Circe's expression changed several times. She asked bitterly, "Where is he now?" "Granduncle came back 50 years ago. You should be at Sky Dragon Temple now. Cersei was silent. I'm innocent. I sacrificed the Demon Kings. I was full of nonsense. I didn't keep my oath. I instigated a riot. I admit it all. But it's all to make Targaryen great again. The old man squatted on the ground and was dragged forward by two hellspawns. He kept crying out for his innocence. Cersei and Lyanna watched from the side as the hellspawn dragged him to the end of the fleshly torch and sealed him inside the stone wall. The hellspawn then used an iron clamp to pull his tongue out and tied it into a knot to prevent it from retracting. After that, the hellspawn nailed a red-hot iron drill into his head. Flames spurted out from the hole, and another fleshly torch was formed. So tragic, so cruel. Even Targaryen didn't give him any preferential treatment, Cersei muttered. The world belongs to the people of the world, not Targaryen. Lyanna Targaryen sighed. Cersei's eyes flickered. She said, "Can you help me send a message and ask Tyrion to come over? I can tell the Northern Ice Lord's residence, but I can't guarantee whether he will come or not." Tyrion was very surprised that Horses would look for him. This meant that she was admitting defeat in a disguised form. So, he immediately rushed over when he received the message. Cersei did not change much. She was still a slutty succubus, but she did not flirt with him. "You've changed a lot." Instead, it was Tyrion's appearance and temperament that surprised Cersei greatly. "I've witnessed the rise and fall of a universe. For billions of years, I've lost the concept of time," Tyrion sighed. Chapter 1204. After that, Tyrion recounted his experience. "Arya was so strong. How did you escape?" Cersei asked in disbelief. Arya was strong, but she was not weak either. She even deliberately. Tyrion thought for a moment before saying, "When the universe dies naturally, the last theme of the great movement begins." All the living beings that existed in the first subspace were part of the chorus. When they finished singing their part of the music, they turned into a message and merged into the black hole at the center of the universe. The entire universe was collapsing towards one point. The message was recorded in the black hole, and the consciousness became a brand new thought of Iryu. What a great move by Iryu! At this point, the dwarf could not help but exclaim, "All living beings were born from Iryu, and will return to Iryu in the end." In the end, the most ordinary mortal was no different from Manwë, the ruler of the gods of Welinur. The so-called heroes and demons, whether they lived a glorious life or were cursed by thousands of generations, they were all meaningless. They were all the same, they only provided Iryu with a different way of thinking. Just like a candy and a pepper, the candy and the pepper thought they were completely different from each other. But in the eyes of the customer, they only provided him with a different taste for a split second. There was no difference between a hero and a demon king to Rome. Compared to the seven gods' great world and the first subspace, we should be thankful. Compared to Eru, my younger sister is much more humane. Oh, before she left, she did not forget to help Mirko, Soren, and the other old friends out of their misery. Although there was some suspicion of revenge, at least she gave them an independent personality and an unpredictable future. Cersei was in a daze for a moment before asking softly. She brought so many people with her, but Iryu did not stop her. I had already turned into a message and was recorded by the black hole. I did not know the exact process, but I vaguely felt. Tyrion rubbed his nose, looking a little embarrassed. There seemed to be dozens of halos around her, and 4 swords that roared like Megalosaurus. This should be the 4 dragons other than Blackie. She was like a beam of destructive light that suddenly jumped into the choir of the grand symphony of Armageddon. The endless suction took away a large piece of it. It was like using a large spoon to dig out a large piece of fruit cream cake. I only heard Eru's angry roar. Later, she told me that after she successfully stole the chicken, she couldn't resist the urge to fight with Eru. The battle between the two of them shattered 7 or 8 worlds nearby. It even alarmed the nearby realms, and a few more creation gods joined the chaotic battle. It's very tragic. You're back. Does that mean she's won? Defeated a group of gods of creation? Cersei asked in surprise. Tyrion sighed. In terms of overall strength and understanding of the first flame, she's definitely not as good as I am. But in terms of understanding of black holes and destruction, she's most likely better than I am. Most importantly, she was very good at running. She had developed the ancient blood of the elves to its limits. Traveling through time and space was like an instinct to her. It's just like how those creation gods chased her through tens of thousands of worlds and lost her. You're so lucky to have such a powerful backer. You've comprehended 5 laws in one go, Cersei said enviously. You have no idea what I've sacrificed. Tyrion was a little agitated. Cersei shook her head. No matter the price, there are countless people willing to take your place. The path of cultivation is so difficult. Most of the time, you've paid an unimaginable price for nothing. Tyrion was stunned. He sighed. That makes sense. You're looking for me this time because of Mirko? Lalo said that Mirko might take his position as Demon King, Cersei said. That's not a groundless worry. She's benefited greatly from Eru. She's deciphered most of the secrets of the first flame of creation. Now, she's truly mastered the first flame, and it might be a level 2 first flame. There are levels to the first flame. Cersei was confused. A god of creation might sound powerful and rare, but there are countless gods of creation in the universe. There are strong and weak creation gods, so there are naturally levels to the first flame. How powerful is a level 2 first flame? Cersei murmured. It can create 1,007 gods' worlds in one go. Cersei was dumbfounded. Tyrion looked at her deeply. So, do you understand why she sent Mirko and Soren to hell? Light and darkness, justice and evil. The balance must be maintained for the world to develop steadily. Outside the universe, I'm not sure if she's an angel or a demon, but in the 7 gods world, she's the Holy Mother. The Holy Mother represents justice and light, and you demon kings added together can't even compare to a single strand of her hair. How can the balance be maintained? Since you can't do it, let the demon king who can do it take over. Mirko and Soren are Eru's dark wills. To put it bluntly, they're just a part of Eru. Their quality is even higher than Eru's own. Eru is at least a level 3 first flame. Its level is high, but its combat power is somewhat lacking. It's a research-type creation god, and my sister, she's war god, the dwarf said in a low voice. Who's calling me? Ghost Messenger Grazdan heard someone calling war god from afar and looked over. Brother Tyrion, you're looking for me? Tyrion was stunned for a moment before he recognized his old friend, war god Grazdan. It's not you. He waved his hand awkwardly. War god left angrily. The dwarf hurriedly called out, Brother War God, when you're free, come to Sky Dragon Temple and have some tea with me. War God's eyebrows rose as he agreed. After Grazdan left, Cersei was still in a daze. She mumbled, Mirko is Eru's dark wills. Then that's not right. Without Mirko and Soren, wouldn't the balance between good and evil be broken? She was confused. That's why she took Mirko away to take revenge on Eru. As long as she controls Mirko and Soren, she'll be able to reverse Eru's path of first flame. What about me and Lalo? Cersei asked anxiously. Let's compete fairly. We can't compete. Lalo is too useless, Cersei complained. Then you can be the second and give the 7th floor to Mirko and Soren. You guys can go to the 6th floor. Your 2 fathers are on the 7th floor. Without me looking after them, who knows what Mirko and the other demons will do to them? Tyrion hesitated. How are they? What else? They're tortured every day. They scream and curse at each other every day. When they think of you, they'll curse you loudly. Now that they know you've mastered 5 laws, they'll probably curse you even more for being unfilial. You're enjoying life while your father suffers in hell. Cersei was gloating. She wagged her tail, and the heart-shaped meatball at the end of her tail was glowing pink. Tyrion glared at her and said, He's your father too. I've tried my best to take care of him. My father didn't scold me. Sometimes he even gave me advice and taught me how to rule over the other demon kings. During festivals, I'll give him a portion of my believers. But the Mad King is greedy. He. He'll curse you more and more. No one will burn money for him during festivals. Sigh. I'll go check on them. The dwarf was about to leave. Wait, I'm not done yet. Circe stopped him. I can't help you. Balancing the power of heaven and hell is the law of the world. Even the 7 gods can't change it. If you don't suppress Mirko directly, can you introduce me to some benefits so that I can level up quickly like you? Circe's eyes were shining with anticipation. You want to go to the other world too? Tyrion looked at his bitch sister. She was so seductive. If she really went to the other world, his cheap brother-in-law would probably be cheated on. Can you? Circe's seductive eyes woke him up. It's hard to work outside. He sighed. It's easy to stay at home, but there's no future. Your main body is still being tortured in hell. Tyrion really didn't want to be burdened by this burden. My sentence won't be reduced while I'm out. Tyrion was helpless. He said vaguely, I'll keep it in mind. I'll fight for you if there's an opportunity. On the way to the 7 hells, Tyrion saw many familiar faces. Some of them were being tortured in fire or boiling oil. Some of them were managing the evil spirits as reapers. The dead spirits who were being tortured asked him for help. If he ignored them, they would curse him and curse him viciously. The reapers weren't that hostile. They would greet him excitedly when they saw him. He also greeted his old friends one by one. Other than the evil spirits, there were many strange natives in hell. In the ice hell, the pale other ghosts looked at him coldly. In the endless sea, he saw Yuluan's giant octopus and the seductive siren with sharp teeth and claws. Hell species have become so plentiful, he muttered. In the distance, a sailboat was sailing quickly but silently. A familiar female voice smiled and said, Every time the stars converge, there will be hellish creatures joining in. In the past few thousand years, from 600 to 700 years to 1,000 years, there will be large-scale star converges. As soon as she finished speaking, a white boat that seemed to be made of white bones stopped in front of him. Asha. Tyrion was surprised. The woman in leather armor standing at the bow of the boat. Wasn't she the valiant female pirate? Ha ha, I knew it. My acquaintances will be surprised when they see me for the first time. Asha laughed. Didn't you go to heaven? He asked curiously. Asha didn't even live past 120 years old. She had received an atonement scroll long ago and went to heaven. Asha waved at him. When he got on the deck, she said, Heaven is too boring, especially for time in. 5,000 years ago, the Gray Sea King decided to reincarnate. His divinity and divine power were given to me. A few years later, the Nether River was born in hell, separating the 6th and 7th layers. I thought it was an opportunity, so I applied to be a ferryman. Nether River. Tyrion lowered his head. As expected, he saw a vast black river of floating gray skeletons and vengeful spirits. Why is there the Nether River? I didn't see it in the first 6 layers of hell. He was puzzled. The Nether River is the blood vessel of hell. It's still growing. One day, it will connect the entire 7 layers of hell, and even take root in the unpredictable abyss. Asha approached him, bringing with her a cold aura. She whispered, Hell is alive. It has life. Tyrion was deep in thought. He pointed at the vengeful spirits in the river and said, What's wrong with them? Asha's face was full of disdain. She said, They're all oath breakers. If they violate the Nether River oath, they will be devoured by the Nether River. As long as it's reasonable, there's a possibility of a holy oath being broken. However, the Nether River oath can't be changed. Humans who know this characteristic are more and more fond of swearing in the name of the Nether River, especially the evil contract that summons Hell's devils. They think that they can perfectly control Hell's devils through the Nether River oath, but they don't think that any oath is directed at both parties. When they reached the other side of the river, Asha even invited her old friends to her house. On the cliff by the sea, there was a dark castle shrouded in black smoke. It was very similar to Pike City in the world of the living. Burning human heads above the door were candles. Deformed and ugly devils were male servants who specialized in manual labor. The beautiful female deviant ghosts served as maids, serving their masters and guests. There were also singers and poets who fell into hell. They played musical instruments and babbled, playing beautiful music for them. Other than Asha herself, her grandson, granddaughter-in-law, and several great-grandchildren lived with her. They are all reserve ferrymen of the Nether River. When the Nether River spreads to the upper 6 layers, they will need ferrymen to enter hell or cross layers in hell. Some of them came down from heaven, some are successful wizards, and some have finished their sentences in hell and came here to seek refuge with me. Asha introduced them to the dumbstruck dwarf. Tyrion's mouth twitched. You Greyjoy monopolized the job of ferryman? Sigh, this job of ferryman is hard and tiring, and there's not much profit. Other than us time in, no one is willing to do it. Asha sighed as she asked the female servants to bring up plates of delicacies and jars of agar. In a short while, the nearly 20-meter-long wooden table was filled with dishes. There was roasted suckling pig, stewed beef brisket with tomatoes, baked snails with cream, red fish sashimi, steamed pork with preserved vegetables, braised five-flour, Western, Chinese, other-world delicacies, all kinds of dishes, more than 100. The dwarf could not help but gulp. These dishes were all of the highest quality and the purest power of incense. They were the manifestation of the faith of the people. They were more delicious and nutritious than real delicacies. Where did you get so much power of incense? He asked in shock. Asha said casually, it's fine if you're familiar with it, but of course you have to pay if you're unfamiliar with it. If we meet a fat sheep, we'll increase the price when the boat reaches the center of the river. If they don't pay, we'll throw them into the river. Anyway, those who go to hell are not good people. Sometimes we meet a dead person who swore an oath of the river Styx wailing in the river. We'll smash his head within or and pick up his magic power, divinity, and magic device. These could be exchanged for a large amount of power of incense from the messengers. Tyrion was stunned. Didn't you say it was hard and tiring, and there was no profit? Isn't this illegal? This is hell. The rules and laws of hell are different from the secular world. Think about it. There are so many true gods in the world of the living. Why do you want to bring in Mirko to compete with Lalo? Asha said meaningfully. You know a lot. The dwarf was shocked. Hee, we locals are not as talented as the geniuses of other worlds, but we have many connections. Many angels, many true gods, they're all my old friends. For example, now, tell me about the upper universe. Asha smiled proudly. After feasting at Asha's house and recounting his adventures, Tyrion waddled down to the depths of the seventh hell, his belly bulging and his body swaying. In the desolate desert, he saw Mirko using his magic power to raise a hill on the ground. He stood at the top of the hill and gave a speech loudly. The dwarf did not go up to greet him. Mirko, Soren, and a large number of fallen Mayas who had entered this world had their memories refreshed. They did not remember their old friend who had accompanied them for tens of billions of years. It was not that the more vicious one was when they were alive. The stronger one would be when they fell into hell after death. It was also not that the stronger one was the better one's life in hell. Hell was essentially a place of sin, pain, and punishment. The more evil one was when they were alive, the more painful their life in hell would be. The stronger one was the greater the shackles of hell. Even a Mad King and Rhaego were no exception. In a long row of caves in the prison, Tyrion met his father, brother, and adoptive father again. Where have you been all these years? Where's the incense? Where's the merit? Second brother Wei shouted from afar. Get lost. I won't give you any incense. The Mad King scolded his son and shouted at the dwarf. You've earned a lot of merit in the outside world, haven't you? Give it all to me. Give it all to me. Hell is too bitter. I can't take it anymore. They were not burned by fire or fried in oil. Instead, they were locked in a dry cave of 100 square meters. Their necks and ankles were tied with a chain of pain. Like a data cable, the chain of pain transmitted all the punishments and pain in the world to them in turn. This included, but was not limited to the pain and sin they had inflicted on others when they were alive. Now, it had multiplied by several times. Year after year, it never stopped. This was a special treatment given to them by Danny. The pain was no less than the others, but they did not have to show their faces in public. They barely managed to retain some dignity. The main thing was that they did not want her to lose face. Among the three of them, only Riga's performance was better. He could still maintain the elegance and etiquette of a crown prince. He squeezed out a smile on his pale face. Tyrion, where have you been all these years? Have you been well? There has been wind and rain, but there have also been gains. I've become a true god now. As he spoke, Tyrion secretly glanced at the stone prison opposite him. Tywin's father was sitting cross-legged and was also looking at him quietly. He was expressionless. Did he feel proud of his achievements? As soon as their eyes met, Tyrion inexplicably withdrew his gaze timidly. What's the use of being a true god? That unfilial daughter is a deity king. Quick, take it out. How much merit? How much incense? I only want merit. I only want to be free. The Mad King's face was filled with madness. Tyrion shook his head. There's no merit. How can there be merit after robbing someone else's god of creation? Following the will of the heavens in the other world could also earn merit, just like how Mad Prince Brandon sought the help of the Child of Destiny back then. However, Tyrion definitely could not get merit from Eru. Thousands of years, no merit at all? Second Brother Way's handsome face twisted into an evil spirit. Tyrion sighed inwardly. He now understood why his sister did not show mercy to these people outside the law. Some people deserve to go to hell. Robbing a god of creation? There should be a lot of benefits, right? Give me some of the profits, the Mad King shouted. The song of laws and divinity cannot help you relieve your pain, Tyrion said. I want to be a demon king. I want to be like Demon Cersei and derive joy from looking down on all demons. Give me the laws and let me be crowned as a king. I will build a new iron throne with bones. Although the Mad King was crazy, he was not stupid. Second Brother Way's eyes glowed. He shouted excitedly, Dear brother Tyrion, give me a law. I want to be a demon king too. The word brother gave Tyrion goosebumps. Once you become a demon king, you will never be free, Riga advised. The Mad King pointed at Tyrion and cursed. Relying on this unfilial son, I will never be free. I might as well sink completely. There will at least be some joy. After scolding Tyrion, he began to scold his eldest son as usual. I must have been blind to think that you were the savior and put all my hope on you. If I had handed you over to Stark and Robert, they would definitely not have rebelled immediately. Then I would have focused on raising my unfilial daughter. After the dragon hatches, who would dare to rebel against me? Now, I'm most likely the savior of the world. Riga said bitterly, To be honest, I wish that you would not put your hopes on me. I can't take it. After watching the Mad King's performance, Tywin could not help but chuckle softly. The two of them had been friends for decades when they were alive and thousands of years after they died. The Mad King immediately understood the reason behind his laughter. Are you laughing at me? Ha ha ha. You old bastard. You helped me raise my son for nothing. Ha ha ha. You were shot in the crotch by my own son. Ha ha. You killed my whole family, and the deviants destroyed the entire Casterly Rock City for me. Ha ha. Tywin's old face began to twist. Ha ha ha. Someone in the cell laughed again. Tyrion took a closer look and saw that it was an old acquaintance. It was Hor's sister's ex-husband, the wild boar killer Robert. This idiot still has the face to laugh. None of the three children are his. In the end, even the Baratheon family disappeared from the Westeros. Second Brother Way mocked. Robert's face turned red. His eyes were spitting fire, but he was speechless. You're stronger than him? If you had been honest, you could have one with the Divine King's sister, but you had to be a devil and sent yourself to the 7th level of hell. In the cell next to Robert, an old man sneered. It was another old acquaintance. Robert's good foster father, John Arryn. He was a good foster father, yes. But he also betrayed the oath he made to the Mad King. So he went to hell. The Mad King glared at him and mocked. How are you better than my son? You always have to stick your neck out. Stark was urged by the scholar to rebel against me, but I didn't even want to talk to you. You just had to get involved. May I ask, where is Arryn in the valley now? The best foster father of the Seven Kingdoms was silent with a sad expression. Good father, second brother Wei murmured emotionally. No matter what happens now, at least we were once glorious. In the history of the Westeros, there will always be a place for Theon Bella. Erlu could not hold it in anymore. He wanted to stand with his elder brother against a common enemy. You were beaten to a pulp by me, the Emperor. What glory do you have? If I had lived for a few more decades, I would have slaughtered High Court Tyrell first, and then joined forces with the Dragon Queen to fight against the ghosts. Who knows, there might still be a lion sitting on the Iron Throne right now. Emperor Joffrey chuckled from another cell. Forget it. You're just a bastard who can't even get hard. Who in the Seven Kingdoms will listen to you? Old Rose mocked. Joffrey wanted to argue, but Tywin glared at him and said, You're just a lonely soul without any children. You can't even take in a single breath of incense. You're the son of the Sword God and the Devil Queen. Why are you wasting your breath on her? Old Rose's smile froze. Her eyes were filled with sorrow. Sigh, it's been a few thousand years. What's there to argue about? In our generation or two, other than that bastard Dowling, who else met a good end? Horse Tully sighed. He was the Duke of Riverrun City who had no male children and had his grandson inherit the family name. When he said that, all the ghosts fell silent. Wasn't that right? Including the royal territory and the Iron Islands, there were a total of 9 families in the Westeros. However, other than Dowling's son Martell, Stark, Aeron, Theon Bella, Tully, Lannister, Targaryen, Tyrell, and Greyjoy had almost no children or even completely no children. The number of family leaders and clansmen who went to hell was even more numerous. After a long while, Tywin sighed. I completely understand Dowling's character. It's not that he doesn't want to do anything, but he's too cautious. If he's too cautious, he'll miss good opportunities time and time again. If he was slightly more decisive, he wouldn't even be able to reincarnate, let alone live a long life and live a carefree life as a god. He'd definitely be like us now, imprisoned for his crimes and unable to turn the tables. In the end, it's the game of power that harms people. If I could go back in time, I'd definitely be a good lord, treat the people well, be loyal to the king, and believe in the Holy Mother. Duke Tully sighed. Asterisk rumble asterisk without any warning. Hell shook like a sieve. The sky cracked open and closed. Flames and purple lightning flashed in the cracks. At this moment, the great Tao seemed to be crying in sorrow and joy. The ghosts were confused and did not know what was going on. Tyrion was shocked and doubtful. He sank his consciousness into the sea of laws. After a while, he exclaimed, She's transforming into the way. What? Riga said in confusion. I seem to hear the Megalosaurus crying in sorrow. You can hear it. Tyrion was shocked and smiled bitterly. You didn't hear it wrong. Our god of creation is dying. What? The Mad King jumped 3 feet high and almost broke free from the chain of pain. Don't be agitated. This isn't an accident. Her death is different from your understanding of death. She's probably leaving. What's different? Where's she going? Riga approached the prison door and asked worriedly. The one who died is God King Dany Rise of the great Seven Gods world, but Tao Seeker Dany Rise obtained great freedom, Tyrion said. Unfilial son, speak clearly, the Mad King shouted. To put it simply, she can't get anything from this world. Cutting off all ties with it will make it easier for her to integrate into other worlds, higher and more wondrous worlds, worlds that can benefit her greatly. Cutting off all ties with the world. The Mad King was stunned. He roared, What about me? I'm her father, but I didn't get any benefits. She only came to see me a few times in all these years. How could she cut off all ties? Sigh. Even if she doesn't leave, she won't give you any benefits. Also, cutting off ties doesn't mean we won't see each other again. I'll go out and take a look. I'll visit you another day. Tyrion said this and disappeared from the 7 hells. In the 9 heavens, Dany was saying goodbye to her 6 children. Yes, 5 dragon babies and 1 sheep son. This world is like a box. It can't contain me at this level. Riga, you're the sun god. I'll leave the light of creation to you. Dany's body became partially transparent, about 1/50th of her body. Riga's body shone brightly, and his aura increased. His aura was so strong that it far surpassed the total number of true gods in the seven gods world. Mother. His eyes were filled with tears, and he couldn't speak. Danny sighed and turned to the five children. You're not talented enough. I can only give you more inheritance. Her body became partially transparent again. The songs of the four elements were given to Little White, Little Green, Little Red, and Little Gold. There were also 40,000 choruses, 10,000 for each dragon. The Great Path is endless. A mere 10,000 songs of the laws is only the starting point for the god of creation. Work harder in the future. Tyrion and the Targaryens, who had rushed over, felt their mouths twitch. Even Riga stopped crying. He looked at the Megalosaurus brothers in a daze. Blackie, you're the boss. You have to take on the responsibility of the eldest son. Danny gave him all the remaining power. A complete path of first flame, a complete path of space-time, the path of slaughter that was comprehended from the four celestial slaying swords, and the path of abyss, black hole, that was close to first flame. Danny was really clean. There was nothing left. Even her body and thought waves had completely disappeared. However, her voice came from beyond time. White Knights, Blood Guards, hear me. Barristan, Bran, and the others hurriedly stepped out. The sacred oath will never be broken. I hope that you will continue to walk with me. This is our highest honor. Their voices were trembling. At this moment, they felt more at ease than ever. They also felt happier and more satisfied than ever. Before I return, you will be the guards of the seven gods' great world, Danny said gently. Understood. They looked at each other and smiled. They retreated briskly. I'm leaving. You take care. Mother. The five Megalosaurus wailed together. The world shook. The year that Danny left was also the year that the Song of Ice and Fire world left the lower universe and entered the upper universe again. It was also because of entering the upper universe that the five Megalosaurus could be reunited. About 2,000 years later, the Holy Mother of Faith found Bran and said, Do you see it? You mean the shadow of the world? Bran was uncertain. Ever since he changed Rob's fate and touched the timeline, Danny took away his power to enter the river of time. Now he could vaguely see the reflection of a world under the river, but he could not be sure what it represented. It's not a shadow. It's the seven gods' great world 2,000 years ago, the Holy Mother said. I don't quite understand. The Holy Mother thought for a while and said, Have you ever tried to use a wooden bucket to draw water from a well? The bucket would be lowered, filled with water, and lifted up again to complete a water draw. If there was a gecko on the wall of the well, it could see the bucket pass by twice in the process, go down, and come up. Now, we are in the gecko's perspective, standing on the river and seeing the other side of the river, another seven gods' great world passing by us. Bran thought for a while, but then frowned and asked, If the world is the bucket, and the rise and fall of the world is equivalent to the bucket rising and falling in the well, then who is the gecko? Without the observation of the gecko, how can we see the reflection now? Who do you think is qualified to be the gecko? The Holy Mother of Faith sighed like a human. I don't understand the purpose of this. Could it be that her future self chose the best path for her past self? Bran asked. If she had mastered the level 1 first flame, she might have done that, but at a higher level. Do you think she only mastered the level 1 first flame now? She went to the endless cold abyss to pursue the source of the white frost. I'm afraid her level must be beyond our imagination. Bran the White Knight said bitterly. No, you can still imagine. The past can't be changed. The past can be changed, which is more beneficial to her. Of course the past, but Bran was stunned before he could finish his sentence. No, only the losers want to change the past. She is the big winner. The past, never being changed, is the best for her. He muttered, but the past has been changed. He held his head and howled. The Holy Mother took out a rope, tied one knot after another, and then cut the rope twice. The knotted part fell and burned into nothingness. Then she gently wiped the two broken pieces of rope and reconnected them into a perfect rope without knots. Do you understand? The past can't be changed. The past can be changed. Neither is the best choice for her. Whatever she wants, she will do. That is the best for her. The Holy Mother held up the rope for him to see. When change is beneficial to her, she will change. When the process and the ending are good, she will make it irreversible. Bran's mouth twitched a few times, but he couldn't refute. After today, the world will completely lose the history of falling into the bottom of the universe. That time period, like the knot, was cut and destroyed. The break point was 2,000 years ago, when we first entered the upper universe. The Holy Mother said. Bran murmured, in other words, the long night, the eve of the Battle of Smoke, see you save the world at the critical point of falling into the bottom of the universe. That is the true timeline of our world. Yes, in the future, we will enter the top universe and meet the powerful gods of creation. When they observe our world, they will see this timeline. The Song of Ice and Fire, from the next moment, will never appear. But at this point, the believer hesitated for a while, then sighed. I have feelings. I see. I am the God of creation. As the God of creation of the seven gods' great world, how can I not have feelings? She disappeared, completely disappeared from existence and time. She said, she will come back for us. She will never break her sacred oath. Bran said excitedly, of course she will come back. She only cut off the karma with the seven gods' great world. You will still know her as her White Knight. Your history with her will always be there. The believer said sadly, only it completely cut off from her. I don't understand. Bran murmured, do you know the transmigrator? She's not a native of the seven gods' great world, but a transmigrator from Earth. She replaced Dany Rise at that point in time, and that is how you came into contact with her. And before she transmigrated, the seven gods already existed. Think carefully. Didn't Dany Rise first call herself the child of the seven gods? And until the end of the long night, she was the spokesperson of the seven gods? Bran held his forehead, his mind in a mess. It seems so, but he didn't know how to say it. This is history. This is the truth. Because I am indeed the creator, and I was the one who helped her end the long night. The believer, the Holy Mother, said faintly, countless years ago, the seven gods appeared and discussed with the old fish Liang Mu and taught humans to believe in themselves. But it wasn't until a few years before the long night that Dany transmigrated. But I remember, could it be that my memory has been altered? Bran said in a low voice. No, your memory has not changed. The Holy Mother opened her palm, and a bright flame rose in front of Bran's eyes. Bran was mesmerized and stared at the orange flame in a daze, as if he could see the entire world inside. Give it to Dany Rise, the Holy Mother said. What? Bran was confused. Give it to Dany Rise 2,000 years ago. Let her survive the Smoke Sea crisis and use this flame to reforge the world. The Holy Mother said. Why me? Bran mumbled. Because 2,000 years ago, you owed Dany Rise your life. So you are the one who received the flame. Because you made a mistake and tried to use my power to change the past, Rob's incident. So I punished you and ordered you to send the flame to the past. This karma sequence. Bran's mind was in a mess. A complete karma is a closed circle. Can you tell the beginning and end of the circle? A circle has no beginning and end. The Holy Mother said faintly. Bran tried to grasp the last bit of clarity in his mind and asked loudly, what about the true gods from the lower universes? The Holy Mother pointed at the sky and said faintly, why does the seven gods' great world have the word great? Because in the astral world, every star represents a small world, and small world can also give birth to true gods. The so-called other worlds are all misconceptions and illusions of mortals. They're only worlds in Middle-earth, but they have always been a part of the seven gods' great world. Don't believe it? The origin of the first flame can testify. Those worlds are like different fruits on a big tree, but in the end, they were born from the same first flame, which is the one in your hand. Bran was speechless. In the next instant, karma formed a closed circle, and he began to instinctively accept the truth of history. And you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.